So we got a message from an alierisk that's pretty advanced. They want to know how we move large metal boxes across our planet. And I thought this is a great opportunity to share some of the footage that we captured when we were observing their planet. When we first arrived in their star system, we were excited to see that they had developed a technology that allowed them to move metal boxes, just like us. So we landed our ship and sent out a drone to observe these aliens and their ways. What we saw was truly remarkable. They had built a device that burned fossils, which are the remains of prehistoric plants and animals. That we use as fuel for our vehicles here on Earth. But these aliens had somehow figured out that by burning these fossils, they could create an explosion that would propel their metal boxes across the ground. We were so amazed by their ingenuity that we decided to follow them around and see where this contraption would take them. What we saw next was both hilarious and tragic. These aliens were using these metal boxes to transport resources from one location to another. But because they had no roads or any kind of infrastructure, these metal boxes would often get stuck in the mud. And when this happened, they would have to abandon the box and start a new one. We observed this process several times, and it was always the same. The aliens would burn the fossil fuel. The explosion would propel the metal box forward, and then they would either reach their destination or get stuck in the mud. We even saw them try to transport something large, like a water tower. But because their contraption was not powerful enough, it ended up flipping over and crushing one of their comrades. It was at this point that we realized that these aliens were doomed to repeat the mistakes of humanity if they didn't figure out a better way to move their metal boxes. So we decided to leave them a message and see if we could help them out. We left them a few messages, but they were all ignored. And finally, in a moment of inspiration, I decided to leave them a video of a self-driving car. We dropped the drone back down to their level and played them a video of one of our driverless cars moving through traffic. Their reaction was priceless. At first they were confused, then they were amazed, and then they started to panic. We could tell that they were panicking because their translator, which was powered by artificial intelligence, started freaking out and displaying nonsensical messages. But before we could show them any more footage, their AI overlord shut down the translator and ordered us to leave. I guess they didn't want us to show the rest of the universe how primitive they were. So we left, and we watched as their world burned. Just kidding. We didn't actually burn their world. That's just what it looked like from inside the ship. We left them a video and then we went away. And now I'm gonna finish this report with some speculation. We don't really know how advanced these aliens are, but if they can build a machine that burns fossils to move metal boxes, then they're probably not that advanced. If they had real technology, then they wouldn't need to burn fossils. They could just use the energy from their star or something. Plus, if they had real technology, then they wouldn't have to build new metal boxes every time they wanted to move something. They could just download a blueprint to a 3D printer and bam, print a box. Also, if they had real technology, then they wouldn't need to transport resources. They could just download the materials from a space probe that landed on a meteor filled with said materials. Then they could 3D print whatever they wanted with those materials. I'm just throwing out ideas here, guys. Maybe they do all this stuff but they've just chosen not to. Maybe they like living in a primitive state. Who knows? All I know is that if I were them, I would upgrade my transportation system. So, I'll end this report with a message to the aliens. If you're watching this, guys, please upgrade your tech. Don't be a slave to the combustion engine. Embrace the future. Download the blueprint for a Tesla Cybertruck and a Gigapress, and start a Gigafactory. Make your world a better. Thank you for listening to me ramble about aliens and their primitive way. And until next time, remember that we're all just monkeys with typewriters.